Hey guys, what's up and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Natalie and today is going to be the first video of a new series I'm starting on my channel called Back to Basics with Nat. So with this, today's video is going to be more focused on this eye look and how to use shadows, how to pick out the perfect brushes to achieve whatever look you want. So for this, I'm going to be teaching you how to get this beautiful like berry tone smoky eye. I personally feel like this is such a good eye look to wear any time of year because just the shades are just stunning, but especially during the holidays. So if you're curious as to see how I got this look and if you want to try to recreate it or just the basic steps on how to achieve a look kind of like this, more smoky, sultry, and if you're curious as to how to blend eyeshadows, how to achieve the perfect smoky eye, be sure to go ahead and keep on watching. We'll be going in with the Dose of Colors Blushing Berries palette. It's a super nice scheme and it's all mattes, which I really like because I feel like in a lot of palettes sometimes they kind of get carried away with shimmers, which I love a good shimmer, don't get me wrong. However, for me personally, I would way rather have a separate glitter topper, kind of like the Hourglass Scattered Lights glitters or like the Kylie glitters. These honestly are some of my favorites. These launched last year or 2 years ago, I believe, for her holiday collection. And in the shade More Pie Please is just absolutely beautiful. I don't know if you can tell, but it's just like this beautiful glitter and it just makes your eyes literally look wet, which who doesn't love that, right? So to get started, I'm going to go ahead and zoom y'all in. I went ahead and zoomed you guys in. I feel like you'll be able to see my eye a little bit better and kind of see how the shadows do perform and how they blend. So first of all, what I personally like to do is I like to go all over the lid or basically like in the crease, like right here in this general section, just with a big fluffy brush. It doesn't have to be this specific one, but it can be honestly anything. This is just a Sephora one that I got last year in a holiday collection. I personally like this one because it's super fluffy. I'm going to go ahead and take this shade right here and then just go ahead and buff that right into the crease. And with these, you honestly don't need a lot. A little does go a long way. And for these, I kind of just like to find the hollow, like where if you open your eye, right there, kind of like the hollow of your eye, I guess you could say. And I just like doing circular motions and kind of like windshield wiper to get the best payoff and have it blend seamlessly. So you can see with just one dunk of an eyeshadow, I mean the pigment is already right there. It's so nice. So with that, I'm just going ahead and building up that shade to the desire that I want. And personally what I like to do is I kind of like to stop it, like if you were to draw an imaginary line right from your lower lash line up to the, I guess the tail of your brow, then that's kind of where I like to flick the eyeshadow. I'm just varying the motion, so sometimes I do windshield wiper, sometimes I do circular. It just depends on where I'm wanting it to blend, but honestly I feel like if you do both, you're going to be golden. So next I'm actually going to go ahead and switch brushes. That way we can get a little bit more detailed lower with a darker shade. So I'm actually going to take the Morphe M330 brush. It's just slightly more tapered and it's slightly more pointed, as you can see. It's not as wide of bristles. So this will actually help get a more precise application, which is going to be ideal. So I'm just going to go ahead and take that same palette and then just go in with the second shade right here. And I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did with the first shade, but I'm going to keep it a little bit lower and really help define the crease. Just first tapping it and then again doing the circular motions and bringing it just slightly lower just to deepen that initial shade, kind of like that. And I always like to start off small with these shades. I mean, I literally dunked once and that's the pigment right there. I mean, it's just stunning. And with this, I personally like to kind of stamp it on the outer corner and then just do these circular motions to help really buff it out and diffuse that shade. And then again, once we have like a little bit less on the brush after doing the circular motions like that, then I just like to go ahead and kind of flick it into the crease a little bit lower than the transition shade, just to help deepen everything up. And then again, just doing the windshield wiper motions to really diffuse the color. And again with this, I mean, you can make it as dark, as light as you'd like. It's just all about preference. Today I'm going to go a little bit more for like a sultry smoky eye, so I'm going to go ahead and keep just deepening it up with this shade. Again, just stamping and swirling. And sometimes I kind of like to take a step back and look at it from afar and see if there's any areas that need more blending, less blending, more pigment, anything like that. But luckily with these shadows, I mean, they're beautiful. They perform super, super well on the eye. And on top of that, a little bit goes a long way, which is great because they're highly pigmented and they're not patchy either, which is a huge problem with some eyeshadows that I find, especially with the deeper, darker shades. Sometimes when you start blending them on the eye, they just get wonky and weird. These do not do that. These are honestly foolproof. So again, I'm just going to go ahead and deepen it up, and I'll speed it up right here for you guys. And I'm just going to go ahead and take the initial brush that we started off with no extra pigment, no extra eyeshadow, nothing, and just kind of diffuse over the top. Again, windshield wiper to give it that seamless blend. Then the next brush I'm actually going to go in with is the Morphe & Jaclyn Hill JH35. This is honestly one of my favorites. Again, it's just like a smaller, more detailed brush. This one's stained. But I like that it kind of has that shape because it can really just get in the crease and kind of help just buff out the shadows, which is awesome. So for this look, since I want to keep it on more on the berry side, I'm definitely going to go in with this shade right here, which is the following shade in the palette, and just kind of help diffuse that in the outer corner and keeping it lower again. I mean, you can see like right off the bat, it's just so pigmented. And again, stamping it, windshield wiper, circles, just like that. And then once you do start having like less and less pigment slash eyeshadow on the brush, what I like to do is I kind of like to just do the circular motions all the way up into the crease, kind of like that, and then I start bringing it into the inner corner just lightly once there's less and less eyeshadow on the brush and it's basically clean since all the pigment is over here. And then again, just taking the initial brush that we started off with and diffusing those edges. I know that this is tedious and time consuming, but it honestly makes it worth it in the end because then when you take a step back, it's just blended and diffused so nicely. And you can see right here I have a little bit of fallout from the shadow. Totally normal, nothing to stress about. Since I have already done my base though, I'm just going to go ahead and take the sponge that I use to apply my foundation, concealer, powder, everything like that. And this is actually like a little trick that I learned. It's honestly like a magic eraser for your eyeshadow. So what you're going to want to do is you're just going to want to go ahead and take your sponge or a brush, whatever you have on hand honestly, and just load it up with a little bit of powder just like that. And then what you're going to want to do is just stamp it right underneath, and if you want to have like that more winged out shape, you can just keep adding more powder until you have the desired amount, kind of just like that. And this honestly just erases any mistake that you may have made, since I know that sometimes packing on eyeshadows does lead to fallout, but with this you have no need to fear. I know it looks kind of crazy at first, but trust me, it is so worth it in the end. And I personally like doing this technique when I'm going to be going in with an even darker shade to kind of help deepen up all this down here. So I'm just going to go ahead and take that same brush and dip into the next shade in the palette and just further deepen it up, but I'm going to keep it more down and closer towards the lash line. and just kind of working it in that C shape, slightly in the crease and then down, just right in that outer V. You can even wing it out a little bit if you'd like. All about personal preference. And then again, going back with the blending, and I'm actually going to take the first shade that we used, which was this one right here, as a transition shade, and I'm just going to go ahead and fluff that right above because I feel like that color is getting kind of lost. And then boom, just like that, it's back. And then I'm actually going to take the brush that comes in the palette. It's just this little double-sided brush. I personally love this side of the brush because it's super small and it's tapered, so you can kind of see how it's like wide on one side and then skinny on the other. And I'm actually just going to take the black in the palette right here and create like a faux wing with it. That way we don't have to go in with eyeliner. You got everything you need right in this one palette. Kind of winging it out, but not too much, and just kind of diffusing that black. I know that you can see I have so much fallout down here, but the good thing about that is no need to worry whatsoever. You can just take any big fluffy brush you have. I'm just going to take this Eco Tools one and literally just brush it away. So we have that right there, and I'm actually just going to go ahead and take a bit of a flat packing brush, which I'm just going to go ahead and take this one. This is the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill JH45 right here. It's not necessarily like a packing brush, but it is slightly fluffy and tapered, and I'm just going to go ahead and take that initial shade that we put on first, and I'm just going to put that all over the lid. And then diffuse it, kind of like that. Just packing and swiping. And in hindsight, I probably should have done this prior to the black liner, but I'm just going to go ahead and go over it and I'll be right back. So I just went ahead and took a step back, assessed the situation, and I went ahead and redid the faux black liner and just buffed it out with the initial blending. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and finish the other eye off camera real quick, pop on a lash, and I will be back to show you guys how to blow out the lower lash line. I just went ahead and used the Tarteist mascara. I really love this one. It's super jet black and it really coats every lash perfectly. Alright, so I went ahead and applied the Beauty Creations lash in the style Insta Famous. I think it's super pretty. It's very light, wispy, and it's their faux mink lash, and honestly their faux mink line is just chef's kiss. It is absolutely phenomenal. I personally love every single one that I've tried. I've tried a multitude of them, and the best part is that they are literally $6.99. Yeah, $6.99 for a faux mink lash, which with Lily lashes you're usually paying like $30, and velour lashes $30. No thank you. Never heard of her. I can't do that. So $6.99 a lash, I'm all for it. So I'm just going to go ahead and take a small pencil brush to finish up the lower lash line. So basically everything that we did at the top I'm going to go ahead and do on the bottom. Starting with this shade right here, I'm just going to go ahead and buff that all on the lower lash line. And with these, you can really smoke it out. You can do it tighter to the lash line, lower. I'm personally going to go for a lower blown out, smoked out lash line. And then next I'm just going to take the second shade in the palette, which is this one right here. And I'm going to take that a little bit closer to the lash line and kind of concentrate it more towards the back here. Then taking this brush right here, this is a Morphe M432. I personally love this brush because you can get it super close to the lash line and kind of just stamp the product. And then taking this brush, I'm going to go ahead and do a mixture of these two shades right here and stamp it very close to the lash line. Kind of get up underneath the lashes and just press. That way all the pigment and the color is kind of concentrated towards the back third of the lower lash line. And then I'm just going to go ahead and take that same pencil brush and kind of diffuse it all together. Just do a light pass by, again just with the windshield wiper, I guess you could say, motions, just going back and forth. And then once I have it kind of blown out to the way that I want, I'll go ahead and apply the same mascara that I did on the top right on the bottom. Alright you guys, congratulations, you've made it to the end of the video. This is the finished look. I went ahead and added some highlighter because I totally forgot to do that, and that's so unlike me considering it's my favorite part of makeup. So I actually just went ahead and used the Anastasia and Amrezy highlight, and I also added that right on the inner corner as well as the brow bone just to kind of give it that pop. And for the lip, I went ahead and used the Lunar Beauty lipstick in the shade Daydream. I really do love it. And then I used the Makeup Forever Artist Nude Cream lipstick in the shade 03 Buff, just to kind of give it more of that, I guess, like a beigey undertone. Alright, and if you guys did like this look, please be sure to go ahead and like the video and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell, that way you're notified every single time I upload a video. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!